Live with studios in Midland and Odessa, you're watching CBS7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW West
Because
Texas.
one day it'll be here and the next day it'll be 5 miles down the road. So it makes it very frustrating, and it just becomes a nuisance and then a hazard.
Illegally dumped tires are causing hazards and eyesores throughout Ector County. This weekend, local officials are giving people a legal and free pathway to get rid of their tires. We've got more details on the event coming up in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us for CBS 7 News on the CW, and thanks to those of you who are joining us live from the CBS 7 YouTube. I'm Lauren Munt, and we start tonight with an update that we first told you about on Tuesday. Odessa police have arrested 30-year-old Brett Asensio after he was caught on camera breaking in and vandalizing Manuel's tamale factory. OPD says that Asensio has been arrested for burglary of a building 7 times within the last 5 years. Asensio was arrested on Wednesday when an OPD officer was on patrol. He spotted Asensio attempting to make contact with him before he fled the area. Asensio was later caught in an alley and arrested for burglary and evading arrest with prior convictions. And in Midland, early this morning, police were called to South Midkiff Road and West Wall Street after getting a call about a stolen car. Officials report that they found the car and attempted to pull it over during a traffic stop, but the driver ran away from them. Police followed the car on Bankhead Highway until the driver failed to turn left and hit a tree. The driver and passenger had to be extracted after the car caught fire. They were taken to Midland Memorial Hospital for their serious injuries. Texas DPS is investigating the crash. And another car chase today, this one in Odessa in the afternoon. 40-year-old Luis Hector Tavares has been arrested after he assaulted his mother, stole her Dodge Journey, and led police on a chase through town. OPD deployed stop sticks at 2nd and Belmont, which ended the car chase right in front of the Odessa Police Department. Tavares has been charged with robbery and evading in a motor vehicle. The Dodge has been returned to his mother. And this week, the city of Midland released its 2023 crash report, revealing that the city saw a 15% increase in road traffic. This contributed to an additional 97 crashes on the road last year. In total, the city saw over 3,000 crashes in 2023. Midland police saw the most crashes happening in areas like Loop 250 and Andrews Highway. And in 2023, there were just under 1,000 people injured because of a crash, which is 9% increase from 2022. However, the number of traffic fatalities within the city of Midland decreased overall.
I mean, there can be a lot of factors. The city is, working on the roads. We're trying to improve our intersections, the loop and the interchanges and all that. We're working on improving that. On top of, we are doing, a lot more aggressive traffic enforcement. And hopefully the public is paying attention to that, trying to be more safe.
Pedestrian accidents this year had a rise in accident numbers. So be sure to always be aware of your surroundings while driving, no matter where you are. CBS 7 has reached out to the city of Odessa for a similar report, but we've not yet received one. And Ector County Environmental Enforcement cleaned up 93 tons of illegally dumped tires last year. It's a daily issue for officers who spend days, weeks, and even months to investigate who dumped the tires and clean them up. This weekend, they're giving people a legal pathway to get rid of those tires. Abandoned tires are everywhere. In Ector County, at times, as many as 50 tires have shown up in various locations overnight. Tire dumping is likely a result of cost. It's cheaper to dump the tires because the county doesn't have sufficient affordable disposal sites. County officials have to travel to a disposal site that can handle high volumes.
This tire event, we're trying to limit to a maximum of 1,000 tires dropped off. So for us to take that's going to take approximately 5 trips to Denver City to get rid of. That's a huge expense on our part.
The event will be this Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon at the southeast corner of Tripp Avenue and Bowles Road. People must register in advance, and each household is limited to dropping off 6 tires. We're going to take a pause now and talk your weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Tom Teefer-Teller. Tom, we saw some light rain in the area today and a couple thunderstorms and showers. Do we have more of those coming today?
No, it looks like things are starting to wind down a little bit. A lot of it is called virga, or rain that evaporates before the reach of the ground this evening. 8-100s out at the Odessa Schleiermacher Field, 1-100 at the Midland National Air and Spaceport, and 2-100s in Big Spring. Some lighter amounts in around the Andrews area. So again, that's what we saw today. Looks like everything winding down for tonight as we had a couple of showers move across this evening, but a lot of evaporating before it reached the ground across the area. And again, we are seeing, for the most part, with the loss of daytime heating, a lot of this shower activity winding down. Some thunderstorms over towards north central Texas are starting to move off to the east, but we're clearing out here in West Texas. As we take a look at our live iCam in Odessa, temperatures lower 60s right now, all the way down to 54 on the plateau in Marfa, and the winds kind of a mixed bag, still a little gusty out here towards the Wink area. But overall, we're going to see a quieter evening and some clearing skies towards morning as those temperatures slide down into the mid 40s.
Thank you, Tom. People are feeling pain at the pump as gas prices continue to rise in West Texas and across the state. According to a report from AAA, Midlanders can expect to pay around $3.22 a gallon. Meanwhile, Odessa drivers are paying around $3.16 a gallon. That's 2 cents more than last week's prices. The highest price in the state is now in Dallas, where drivers are seeing prices around $3.36. The lowest average is in Tyler. People are paying around $3 a gallon there. Now, the average price of gas across the country currently stands at $3.53. The state average price is $3.18. That's 9 cents less per gallon compared to this time last year. And the city of Midland will close the customer service department for the second time in 2 months for a health concern. The city says they're closing out of abundance of caution on suspicion of bed bugs. If you need to pay any bills, you can go to City Hall. And the last attempt to build a new courthouse for Ector County was 11 years ago, but residents voted against it because there wasn't a location selected or a design proposal. But now, as part of a bond proposal for the November 2025 election, Ector County is proposing a plan to build a new county courthouse that includes both of those things. The new building will be built around East 2nd Street and North Texas Avenue. Ector County Judge Dustin Fawcett wants to build a larger county complex along with the new Ector County Library, but wants input from the community. That way they can make sure that the new buildings provide citizens with the most cost-effective and efficient way to interact with the county.
We've looked at the previous failings of the past, why these proposals have failed, and we look to fill those gaps. And we want to educate the citizens. Our goal is to really engage the public in this process. We're talking about a building that's going to be here for a lifetime, that will be here for 50 to 70 years, and that will need to serve the future populace of Ector County. We need their engagement.
The current courthouse would turn into a green space for downtown Odessa. If the 2025 bond is approved, the new courthouse will be completed in 2028. And in the community now, 24 businesses participated in this year's Easter egg hunt in downtown Odessa. The event is hosted by the city of Odessa and downtown Odessa for people to win some prizes, but also meet the local businesses in the area. 60,000 eggs across downtown makes for a good time for children and their parents. Each egg can have something small like a candy or a coupon, but some prizes can include TVs, speakers, or maybe even a lightsaber. This event started off with only 5 to 6 businesses, but every year it continues to grow.
We want people to come out to downtown and see what we do have to offer. And there are so many great things. We have so many new things that continue to pop up. So these events are critical.
The city of Odessa will have more free events coming up, and if you want to be updated on when they'll happen, that's up on our website. That's CBS7.com. And Permian Dogs wants you, well, your dog, to attend boot camp. When deciding to train your dogs, always wait until they're fully vaccinated, but you don't want to wait too long. It's important that they're exposed early on to elements such as sounds, people, not necessarily other dogs, but just different environments.
Most people think dogs know how to walk on a leash, and that's not true. You have to teach a dog how to walk on a leash.
Training can help prevent bad behaviors such as dog aggression, people aggression, excessive barking, jumping, and using the bathroom where they're not supposed to. The best training result comes within the first 6 months of adopting.
They don't reason like humans do. Dogs are very binary in their thinking. It's good or bad, yes or no, up or down. It's not on a spectrum of thought. Puppies, you can be a little more assertive with them. They're looking for guidance. They like routine.
Permian Dog Training in Odessa has been in the dog training and boarding business for 23 years. They provide weekday doggy daycare, training, exercise, and overnight boarding for dogs, puppies, and more. Still ahead, the on-again, off-again Texas immigration law is back on hold. We've got continuing coverage on the Supreme Court decision next on your news across Texas. And March Madness will affect some of our shows. Tomorrow, news at noon will be moved to KWWT My 30. Our 6 o'clock news tomorrow night will also be on KWWT My 30. And the 10 o'clock news will start whenever the last game is over. Welcome back. We have continuing coverage across Texas now, where a controversial immigration law in Texas is bouncing back and forth between the highest court in the land and a panel of federal appeals judges who are hearing legal arguments about it today. But caught in between is the state's immigrant community, who fear that if it's allowed to move forward, many of them could be put unfairly in the crosshairs of law enforcement agencies. Laura Aguirre has more on Texas Senate Bill 4, what it is, and what could happen next.
Texas is in a legal tug-of-war. Governor Greg Abbott wants to start enforcing SB 4, the state's new immigration law that he signed last year. It empowers state and local law enforcement to detain people they suspect of entering the U.S. illegally. But it's facing a myriad of legal challenges from the Biden administration and other groups. And while those court battles play out, the U.S. Supreme Court issued a temporary order Tuesday allowing Texas to enforce SB 4. But hours later, a federal appeals court slammed the brakes on that, and the governor pushed back Wednesday.
Texas has a right to defend ourselves, and we will use that authority to declare an invasion and fight back against that invasion. No SB 4!
SB 4 has sparked protests, and critics say it greenlights racial profiling. After Tuesday's legal maneuvering, some cities moved quickly to allay those fears.
We don't want our deputies making arrests unless somebody has actually committed a crime.
It can be just by seeing somebody and the officer thinking that he's not from here and then asking for documents. It doesn't work like that.
But exactly how it will work is now back in the hands of the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, for now, with the governor, the state, and the eyes of the nation watching.
What Texas is doing on immigration would be akin to them declaring their own wars, would create massive confusion across not just Texas, but other states.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Civil rights groups are addressing the law's potential impact on certain communities. One of the main concerns is that racial profiling can become a factor if the law takes effect. To protect individuals, one ACLU member says that if you're worried, contact a lawyer. He says knowing and understanding your rights go a long way in protecting yourself in particular situations. But in the long run, the ACLU says that they're fighting back to get the law dismissed.
We're saying, as a ACLU and the lawsuit that we're bringing, the state is attempting with this law to take over the powers of the immigration authorities, who are trained for that. They know exactly what they need to do. Here you're, what if you get some rookie cop that's been on the street 30 days?
Although the law's future remains unclear, Almaraz believes the courts will ultimately strike down the law as unconstitutional.
Well, we are starting to see the showers come to an end across the area, but it does look like a few more are possible this weekend. We'll talk more about that in the next cold front coming up next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, as we take a look at the satellite and radar view this evening, a lot of the shower activity really starting to wind down. Made for some great cloudscapes this evening. Even a couple of rainbows showing up out there. But as we take a look at the trend, looks like a lot of it's really starting to wind down now that the sun has set and this upper level low is really starting to chug off to the east a little bit more. So we're going to see some clearing skies after midnight tonight and a nice day on the way for tomorrow. tomorrow, there's another storm system across the Pacific Northwest. So tomorrow is going to be kind of in between storm systems. So we'll see some nice conditions with this ridge, and that should last into Saturday. But then Sunday, though, we start to get some breeze, and that next front starts to roll back into the area. Rain chances, well, they look to be a little bit further off to the east coming up on Sunday with that front, mainly up here across portions of the eastern Texas Panhandle, eastern South Plains, and over towards the big country in the Concho Valley is going to be the best bet. West Texas, again, we're starting to clear out a little bit and should do so after midnight tonight. And then we'll have this weak front start to drop down across the area. It's going to bring a north wind, but not do a lot to our temperatures, as tomorrow will rebound nicely. Today we saw temperatures into the lower 70s, but a cool 65 in Dallas, 68 in Houston because of rain showers out there that we're moving east. Now, a lot of that is going to chug off to the east, and so for tomorrow, we're going to see lots of sunshine in the forecast. By the afternoon hours, there could be a little wrinkle with an isolated shower, thunder shower here across maybe the northeast Permian Basin, but that's really about it, as we're going to see more sunshine than anything else. So for the rest of tonight, it's going to be a little on the chilly side. Waking up to temperatures into the mid to upper 40s out there, with the skies starting to clear a little bit, and more sun than anything else for tomorrow as those temperatures warm up quite a bit into the low 80s. In your CBS7 First Alert exclusive 10-day forecast, breezy conditions are on the way for Saturday. It's ahead of the next storm system and cold front, as we'll keep the temperatures into the 70s. Again, rain chances are going to be slim on Sunday with that front passing by, but milder temperatures and a little more wind on the way coming up on Monday, so we'll be watching out for that late in the weekend.
Coming up, lawmakers are still working to avoid a partial government shutdown before the deadline approaches. The steps they're taking to pass a funding bill before the cutoff, next. Despite a strong bipartisan agreement, the United States could still see a partial government shutdown this weekend. Supporters probably have enough votes to pass the deal, but they might not have enough time. Amy Kiley reports.
Where there's a will,
We've been very, very consistent, very adamant that we had to get our government funded. We had to get the appropriations process done.
there's not always a way. Parts of the federal government could briefly shut down this weekend, despite a bipartisan budget deal. The issue is time and whether it can overcome hurdles by the end of tomorrow.
Even with bipartisanship, it's going to be a tight squeeze to get this funding package passed.
The deal appears to have enough support to pass eventually. It funds parts of the government an earlier package didn't cover.
There's absolutely no reason for a pointless and costly shutdown.
But legislating requires a series of steps. With everyone in agreement, they go quickly. But how often is Congress in total agreement?
You think you guys should shut it down?
I do.
Lawmakers who oppose the deal have ways to slow down the process. Some say they at least want more time to read the legislation.
You don't even know what's in there and what's not in there.
In the House, expediting with a suspension of the rules requires a supermajority. In the Senate, a speedy unanimous consent vote fails if a single person objects.
The point isn't really about the process of whether it's Friday or Saturday or Sunday. It's whether or not someone stands up and says the emperor has no clothes, the country has no money.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The good news is a brief weekend shutdown wouldn't cause as many issues as a longer one. That's because many federal workers already have those days off. Still ahead, cherry blossoms have bloomed in D.C. We take a look at the iconic flowers next here at 9. The iconic pink and white blossoms that transform Washington, D.C. at the beginning of spring have officially hit their earliest peak bloom recorded in at least 20 years. I love these flowers, Tom. I think they're so beautiful, and I wish I could go see them now. Do you think they'll let me off of work?
I don't know.
It's one of the earliest days it's happened in the area on record, and experts say it's likely to keep shifting earlier.
Yeah, if we keep having these mild winters like they've had across the eastern U.S., really all of the U.S., I'm sure things like this will happen. The mesquite blossoms are blooming out there.
So maybe I request time off next year around this time, and go and see the blossoms.
Everything.
Okay.
We saw some spring weather today with these showers across the area. We're going to see nice conditions really to end the week for tomorrow. Now, another cold front's on the way late in the weekend. That's going to keep some breeze in our forecast coming up Saturday, but especially on Sunday when it could be just downright windy across the area. And then we'll see some cooler air roll in the early part of next week. But if you're doing something outdoors, just keep that wind in mind.
All right, I will. Thanks for watching CBS 7 News at 9. We've got more news coming up tonight at 10.